are deliberately forgetting who you really are. You are deliberately forgetting who you really are.
My lips have been so chapped from wearing these stupid fucking masks, man. I got into work and had to run and like buy chapstick. I felt like I was like had been dehydrated walking across the Sahara for months when I woke up in the morning. I like ran for the Burt's Bees and like unwrapped it in the grocery store and started slathering it all over my face. Oh man, it's been terrible. What are you guys up to?
Chilling, man, chilling. You know, we're having the same issues with those masks. Tots, those masks have been just killing her face. My girl just can't handle them. Her whole little chin gets all rashed out from them, and those masks, man, those masks.
Yeah, man, I Arizona, it's been, through the summer, 107, 110, 115. I got those masks on. I'm doing those video shoots. I'm lugging equipment.
Oh.
It's just, I mean, it's like literally someone smothering you as you're working,
I bet.
Let me
I
choke
bet,
you
man.
as you work,
Dude,
How you guys been doing?
I've been good. Yeah. Last night I totally got hung up at the grocery store and was like buying all kinds of popsicles. Came home, I was like, all right, I have 3 different styles of variety packs of popsicles. My stomach has been so upset. I've been like drinking and then like taking breaks of like drinking alcohol and like chowing down a couple popsicles or push pops. Oh man, my poor stomach.
Why the
I know,
popsicle
Tony,
kick?
Yeah, why popsicles? What's happening?
I don't know. You know how I am. It's just I get on weird things, and I'm like, ooh, I want this, and it's like I can't just get one thing of like a pint of ice cream. I can't just get one flavor, of drumsticks. It's like I always got to go for the variety pack, and then it's like, well, if I'm gonna get a drumstick, I need like some sherbet to counteract it, to kind of go with it, and man, it just goes downhill. And then I always start thinking like, well, what would Lolo want? She might want these kinds, this kind of snack.
You gotta make the wife happy too, man. You can't come home with a bunch of popsicles and nothing for the wife.
Yeah, so I end up with 3 huge variety boxes of popsicles that I do not need. Oh man, it's the worst. But I love them.
I was so mad at you guys. I was doing good today. I've been exercising. I had like tortilla soup for lunch. I had a salad, a little bit of salad, and then I go out and do my bike ride, and I'm like, I'm gonna send these motherfuckers a picture. I'm out exercising, and the next thing you know, I get a picture of like someone eating a pizza, right? Someone chilling watching TV, and then as soon as I got home, I was so starving, after you get done working out, and then I'm like, I'm going to Whataburger and I'm getting a double. I'm getting a double Whataburger tonight because these guys are eating, whatever they want. And so yeah, you guys got me on a fast food thing.
Good. You enjoyed your day, huh?
Oh, dude, it was good. It was good. That burger was good. I didn't get cheese. I was good enough to not get cheese, So.
Hey, Tony, do you got Whataburger out there in Hawaii?
No, man. No Whataburger.
Yeah.
No Whataburger.
Not Whataburger either, man.
No Chipotle.
No Chipotle.
No real Mexican food. No, yeah.
Because Chipotle's McDonald's, right? You got a McDonald's, right?
It's McDonald's, yeah. The big chains,
Yeah.
McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's,
Yeah.
those are all out here. Some of the odder ones. There's no In-N-Out Burger, none of those out here.
But dude, you probably have like awesome, good like local food. That's why you don't need any of that shit.
There's a lot of good local food out here. I'm not a huge
Yeah.
local food fan necessarily. I'm not a
No.
spam type of dude.
Yeah.
But it's definitely there's a lot
They
of
got
local
other stuff
places out here.
besides spam, right, Tony?
Most of it's got spam on
It's
it,
probably
man.
mostly pork. Is it
In the
mostly
stores
pork
out here,
items?
they literally
Yeah.
the spam that they sell, they put them in those little lock cases. You know how they lock up the liquor bottles and they put them in like a plastic thing that when you take it to the front, they have to open it and give it to you.
Are
That's what
you
they do with the
kidding
fucking spam out here.
me? No,
Not a joke.
way.
Not a joke. Like literally, they put the fucking spam in locked boxes in the grocery store because motherfuckers be stealing the spam.
So, is there a limit on how many you can buy, or is
I
it
don't
just?
think so. No, it's just that people steal that shit. They fucking feed it, man. It's like Hawaiian crack, fucking spam.
Wow, man. Wow.
I never
wow.
knew it would get like that.
Yeah, man. Any
That's
flavor of
pretty
spam
wild.
you want, they got though too. Every spam they make, they got in Hawaii. That's for sure.
They make different kinds of spam?
Yeah, there's like flavored spams, like bacon spam and orange spam. I got all kinds of spam. You name it.
I
It's
don't
kind of
think I
like
knew that.
Like what's that guy from Forrest Gump? You know, with the shrimp. Same shit with the spam,
Yeah,
man.
Bubba
you know?
Gump shrimp,
Barbecue shrimp.
pineapple shrimp.
They even got spam on
I-
the menu at McDonald's.
Shrimp jambalaya.
So basically, when I watched that 50 First Dates with Adam Sandler and he's in Hawaii and they have that whole thing where they make fun of everybody about the spam, I was like, man, that's kind of rude. You know, I'm like, I
No,
don't
it's
think
real.
it's really like that. You're telling me it is like that.
There's a spam festival, dude, once a year down on the main strip in Waikiki. And there's literally a big dude
Really?
running around in a spam costume. And yeah, it's great.
Huh. Right by the shop?
Yeah, right down on the strip. Yeah,
Crazy,
they block off the whole
crazy.
main strip of Waikiki for the spam festival. Yeah, it's a trip. And you know, Hedrick, I mean, I've got a very small amount of food that I eat anyways. I eat like a 6-year-old child, you know? So
Yeah.
me talking shit on what the Hawaiians eat doesn't mean shit, because I talk shit on what
Yeah.
everybody eats.
Everybody eats, yeah.
Chicken
Tony,
nuggets?
do you eat?
Yeah, I'm happy.
Do you do the whole like little meals throughout the whole day? Is that what you kind of do versus eating a lot?
I tend to
or-
snack a lot more, but don't get me wrong. I mean,
Yeah.
I get nice and stony, and I'll sit there and polish a large
Yeah,
pizza off.
yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But that's all he'll, you know what I mean? That's all he'll
Yeah,
eat. And if
that's
he's
he'll
like,
eat all
if he's
day,
still
yeah.
hungry, he'll have like another pizza. Or
Yeah.
he'll have like...
Yeah. One of my
or he'll
5
have, like,
food groups,
a-
you know? Cereal, pizza, tacos, burgers,
Yeah.
and waffles.
Tony and I used to eat like bologna sandwiches, like just bologna,
Yeah.
bread, and then like instead of cheese, we'd put like some Doritos on
Throw some
there.
Doritos in there? Yeah, man.
Yeah.
How does Tony stay? How does he stay thin like that? You know what I mean, like that sounds like what I want to eat, but I can't do it.
Oh, I shouldn't be thin, man. It's stupid shit too. I have a girl that works with me right now she's pregnant and she's temporarily diabetic because of the pregnancy, so she has to test her blood sugar constantly. She tested my blood sugar the other night after eating tacos and like 3 pieces of cake. My shit was 82. Fucking on point, man. I am preserved
Huh.
from all the preservatives.
Wow, that's just great.
Crazy.
The reading comes up and it just says spam. It's just SPA.
Spam.
It's in his blood. You can't get rid of it. You've been
So-
doing good. You've been doing good, head on your eating and stuff. You look thin.
Yeah, dude, I've been
Looking
eating
good, man.
everything.
You,
I eat everything.
you look good, man. You look like you're keeping the weight off. I've been trying.
Not really,
It's
man.
hard, man. It's hard.
It's super tough. I've just been drinking too much.
Yeah.
every day.
That's hard.
Every
And
day
then
I
that's where
get
you-
home, I'm
and
like, I
that's
need a
where- and
beer.
that's- And then I saw you had a push pop, out of your popsicles. I had had one of those since the ice cream truck in the 5th grade. You know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
was like,
I bought like a
that's the
box
bomb.
of 24 of those things. I grab them like 2 at a time, like packages of fruit snacks. Can't just get
I
like one
know.
bag of those things. You
I know
gotta
you
grab,
almost-
like,
I do
you
the same
almost-
shit,
you-
man.
you-
We can't
you
get
almost
fruit snacks
pushed-
because
yeah.
of it.
no fruit snacks.
fruit. I do the fruit by the foots and just have like 2 of them hanging out of my mouth, and I just like suck them up like noodles.
Yeah.
It's bad. I'm
I did
addicted
eat.
to
I
stuff.
did eat a Kit Kat out of my kids' little mini, Halloween Kit Kat out of my kids' box today.
So how did that go, Paul? If you don't mind me asking, did you guys do anything?
You know
Did
what,
you-
man? We really didn't do anything. We kind of made a pack and said, hey, we're going around the neighborhood, see what's going on. And I'll be honest, man, I thought there'd be a lot of people out. I'm like, oh, there's gonna be people out. Nobody gives a shit about
Yeah.
any of this. And we got out there, and I mean, maybe it's just our neighborhood. Maybe the neighborhood. We went around another way around the block, and dude, there was like nobody out. I mean, we maybe saw 10 families total the whole night. And so we just went up, and if someone had some tables out, a couple people had tables out with already like prepackaged bags. You don't have to go into people's houses,
Right.
But
But
yeah,
I don't.
we
I
just
don't
went,
really get that prepackaged bags. That just mean that they touched all over a bunch of candy,
Well,
touched
I
all
just
over
mean
the bag,
I just
and then
mean you can grab the bag and then you take it home. We can wash it off or whatever, or just give it.
I
a
think
wipe
it's
down
also
or
like
what,
avoiding putting your hand in a bowl that
Yeah.
everybody else is putting your hand in type thing.
Yeah.
It's actually
just
kind of
that
funny because
piece.
at work we put up a bowl of candy, and then we put on the front, "Dare you test COVID? Eat some candy."
That's the same sign they have on the bar nuts at the bar, right? Like, I dare you to eat this cashew out of this bowl.
Scariest thing in here, bowl of candy.
So yeah, we just did that. We did that for an hour. We came back and just chilled and watched some movies and stuff. And there really wasn't much going on. Nobody I knew was doing anything. You guys were at work. Really nobody I knew was doing anything.
It was same
Yeah,
out
this
here,
is the-
man. There was not people walking around doing stuff. Even down on the strip I was working that night. Usually it's a party in Waikiki. It was mellow, man. It was super
Yeah,
mellow.
everything
you
was
know?
pretty mellow.
They should have had people like trick or treat and use like the trash picker upper deals where you squeeze the
There you
handle and it has the little claw. You know what I mean? Like you could do something like that.
idea.
Like here, that could be like a game or something. Use the claw and try and wipe it down afterwards. I don't know.
No, totally.
There could
totally
be fun.
good
There could have
idea.
been fun stuff you could do with it. I think. But
I
hey.
did get chased out into the street by this old lady, because she's back there, and she's like, "Hey, come on in and have some drinks." I'm like, "We're good. I mean, I already had a drink with me, but we're like, "We're good. We're going to the next house." And she's like, "I got these liqueur chocolates." She comes running out towards me, screaming,
"Whoa,
but she
whoa."
has no
Liked you.
mask on, Oh yeah, she was, and I had to like run from her. I'm like, "Oh, we're all right. We're all right." We kind of just like shuffled our way down the street, but yeah,
She's trying to
everybody
get you
was
wasted
pretty-
and get you into her house. Come on, drink more. Come into my house.
Yeah, she was, I mean,
with
everybody's been pretty nice, so far.
It's
I
awesome.
almost felt like I was gonna die on Halloween. Hey, I briefly messaged you guys about that.
Yeah.
We
yeah,
decided
I wanna hear
Halloween
about
night after work. We'll see if I can tell the whole story through. We went out to the far west end of the island out here because it was a blue moon that night. Huge moon, super cool Halloween night, nothing else to do. So we go out to the beach and we walk about a quarter mile, half mile down to the beach. We're hanging out, smoking a joint, looking at the moon. And all of a sudden, from all the way at the end of the beach, quarter mile down, we see flashlights flashing at us. What the fuck, Are they flashing at us or are they, what's going on, And then they start flashing right in our eyes. All right, they're definitely flashing shit at us. The beach is closed. Maybe it's the cops. Let's head back. We start walking back, and as I get close, there's like 9 or 10 big old local brothers sitting there on the beach with their flashlights, their pit bulls, their baseball bats. They're looking at us saying, "Beach is closed, brother. Beach is closed. You got to go home." I was like, "Oh, damn." So I'm going to get fucked up right now. I was convinced I was going to get fucked up,
Wow.
So we start
Yeah.
walking close. We're like, "All right, man, we're getting out of here. No problem. I'm being as nice as possible." We get up to the direction. There's about 10 more dudes standing up on the top of the cliff
Oh,
right there with
wow.
bats and flashlights all pointing at us, giving us shit. Start walking up. It turns out they actually ended up being kind of cool, and they were there patrolling the beaches on Halloween. So the beach that I was
Okay.
at in particular is a pretty clean beach on the west side, and the west side is known as a pretty trashed area with a lot of homeless encampments and stuff like that. Well, Makua Beach in particular, where I was at, super clean all the time. And I kind of put it together and even said to the dudes, I said, "That's why this beach is so fucking clean, huh?" And they were like, "Yeah, brother." They're like, "It's all good. Just head on out. We'll see you another time." So it was cool. They were really cool in the end. I thought I was going to die for a second, man. 15, 20 big old Hawaiian brothers standing there with fucking flashlights and bats and pit bulls. And like, people can be really cool out here, but you rub them the wrong way. And you know what I mean? Walking around a white dude in the middle of the night on their beaches, they don't always like you, But-
So even if you were born out there and you were white, right? Like say you were born out there, right? Even it'd be the same way.
Yes and no. There's locals and there's Hawaiians. You know what I mean? So
Okay.
if you're
Yeah,
born
I
out
hear
here,
ya.
you get a little more leniency. But if you're born a
Sure.
white dude out here, you'll grow up hard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like the
Yeah.
white kid in the black neighborhood or the black kid in the white neighborhood. You know what I mean? You definitely have to harden up to be different in the neighborhood. So most of the white dudes I know out here that were born and raised are some pretty solid hard fuckers. You know? But yeah, I mean,
And if you were raised out there, you'd be the one with the baseball bat. You'd be part of the crew, probably.
yeah, probably, man. I even told Tyler, I wish they just would have thought I was cool enough to let me hang out.
Yeah. Let me see
I
your
clean
pit
these
bull.
beaches too, man. Like I swear.
Can I pet your dog?
Right. Man, I was just happy to be alive. When we got in the car, they followed us for 2 miles in our car to make sure we were heading out of town. Like, yeah, I was nervous.
That's
Until I saw their
serious,
car
huh?
turn
Yeah.
around, I was like, fuck, man. Like,
Let's get
I'm
out of here.
really
Yeah.
happy they didn't kick my ass. Like,
Wow. That's
Just because you were there. Let me ask you a question. Is it just because you were there late, or just there at
yeah,
all?
it's because it
on
was
that
late
night?
night after hours. I mean, it's always kind of different out here in the sense. I mean, give it a different situation. If I was a local boy out there with a local girl, just hanging out, they might not have given me as much shit. So it was a mixture of shit. They were super cool. They didn't fuck with me in the end of it all or give me any shit. But had it have been different scenarios, it could have been different endings and conclusions all around. On the other end of it, if I would have said one thing mouthed off or been an asshole, they probably would have fucked me
Oh,
up.
yeah.
But they were super cool. They
Sure.
didn't antagonize me or anything like that either. It was scary. They intimidated the fuck out of me, but they weren't trying to antagonize me. I don't think they.
They
needed
probably
to. I'm
knew
sure
some
they could see the
shenanigans would be
fear
going
and
on Halloween. They probably knew
well,
that
and that's what
Halloween
they were
night there's
saying.
shenanigans.
Halloween's crazy. They start throwing the parties and the bonfires,
Yep,
leaving
yep.
nails everywhere and shit. So
Yeah,
said on the way
yeah.
out, I totally understood and I was cool with it. But at first, it was scary. It was very scary.
Hey Tony, did you tell Paul about your hand?
Oh man, my hand's a little messy. No, I didn't tell Paul on my hand.
What?
Let me show you my hand.
What happened to there? What is going on with that?
Fucking cut my hand
Man,
open
that
on a
knuckle's all messed up.
bum tooth, man. Bum tooth, damn it, infected my hand.
Bum
Actually, well,
tooth?
it wasn't a bum. It was a drunk guy. Around my shop down in Waikiki, we get a lot of drunks, transients, bullshit like that. And I got to get them out of in front of my shop, man. I got to tell them to move on. And people don't like to be told to move on when they're drunk. So I'm kind of quick to react. Bum gets in your face or a drunk guy gets in your face and says he's going to fuck you up. Best thing to do is punch him as hard as you can. But unfortunately, I busted the dude's tooth, and his tooth busted my fucking hand. And I had blood all over me, and I got stitches in my knuckle.
That knuckle looks super swollen. Yeah, you got.
Honestly, it's actually pretty good. You should have seen the
It's
first
not bad.
picture. It was bad, man. Yeah. I'd like to think he got it worse.
is
My
the
hand looked
homeless-
horrible.
Is the homeless problem out there pretty severe because of the
It's
weather? And
abundant.
it's nice.
It's abundant, man. Yeah, and then with the
Yeah.
whole lockdown and everybody losing their work and stuff, it's definitely been a
Yeah.
lot more abundant. We've seen a lot of encampments go up out here. So,
Hmm.
I mean,
I think
paradise
that's
is
everywhere,
paradise,
right,
but-
Head? I mean, you got. I mean, dude, I
I've
I
heard
mean,
that.
you know, you can't get off a freeway without
Mhm.
having the sign and the dog and the the poor
I've
dog
heard
that's been
that.
sitting out there all fucking day. You know,
I've heard Cali in particular is pretty bad, yeah?
Yeah, it's I think where it's going now is where the camps that they're setting up.
Right.
I know California has laws where, even if somebody's not there with their tent set up and everything, the city, I believe, cannot take that stuff and throw it away.
Huh.
Once their stuff is set up, they've set up township or homeship or
Dude.
something where
Yeah,
now
yeah.
they kind of have rights because it is their property. Like the city, the bums have the right to have their
Right.
stuff and have it not get thrown away. But that just means you have literal
Right.
camps being set up next to each other where now just, a whole line of strips will just be homeless encampments.
We've got
You
one
know,
across
and
the
it's
street
like-
from our house. I mean, literally, a house and a street over. There's a huge encampment over there.
Yeah.
You know,
and I
and
know
it's-
LA is a lot worse. I'm sure everybody in LA is like San Diego, fucking pussies, But it's still bad, and it's
It's
still
a tough
sometimes
area, man.
scary, and
It's
I
a
think
tough
a lot
area.
of them. Yeah, I think a lot of them have mental, issues. So it's like,
Definitely.
there's only one thing worse than walking by 40 bums in tents is walking by 40 bums in tents that are fucking talking to themselves
Mhm.
and fucking, talking to the person that's not there, or, waving things around, stakes or something they found on the road. It's scary
Oh.
sometimes.
Yelling at people, yelling at nobody sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah, fighting with themselves.
Uh-huh. I talked to a friend out here once, a local guy that's been out here his whole life, and I had asked him about it because I was curious, and I had never really seen tents like that until I got out to Hawaii, because that's really a kind of a common thing out here. As much as it's blowing up everywhere right now, it's always kind of been a thing out here. And I asked him, I said, what do you think about the tents out there? I said, as being somebody new here, I see that, and it looks odd to me, and it looks fucked up, and I feel like something should be done. And he said, I agree fully. He said, but the shitty part is that the government just doesn't put the resources in there to help those people properly. So as much as I look across the street and I think, motherfucker, get out of my fucking view. At the same time, where the fuck is he going to go? I get it. He's got a drug issue.
Yeah.
He's got a mental problem. I get it. You know what I mean? I'd like him to fuck off my street, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
But where does he get the proper help? You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I understood when he said it to me like that. I was kind of like, God damn, man, I get it. That's a tough one. It's a rough problem.
I believe most of the homeless, what are they? The homeless houses, the special help that they offer. I believe you're not allowed to be a drug user and stay at one of those places.
Correct. That's where it kind of comes in.
so
Curfews and drug tests and bullshit. They're like, oh, fuck that. I'll sleep on the beach.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, why stay there and be sober? I'm gonna get fucked up and hang out in front of Cartier or,
Right.
Neiman Marcus
Yeah.
or whatever, some fancy shop that somebody's
That's
gonna have
what's
to
next
step
door
over
to
me
us
in the
in
morning.
work. We got
Yeah, it's
Gucci
pretty heavy
and
down here in
Chanel
downtown Phoenix. I don't know if Toady, if you ever saw the video I made, it's kind of cool. A year or so ago, last summer, I don't know if you heard the story here in Arizona, but when Uber was starting their self-driving cars, where they started doing that stuff, they had them buzzing around Phoenix here. One ran over a homeless person.
Oh, damn.
I don't know
no,
if you
didn't
heard
hear
about that story, and so of course
I haven't
Uber.
heard about that.
And so Uber had to, get instead of doing a lawsuit and all this crazy stuff, they just donated money to an organization geared towards homeless, right, or whatever, and it was kind of cool. This girl from ASU just graduated. She wrote a letter and called this business Elaine, and it was actually named after the woman that died, which was really cool. She named it after that, and she created this organization that goes around and picks the homeless people up in these vans that will take them to go get their prescriptions filled, at the doctor.
Cool.
Because these people, I mean, once again, just like you said, if you can get them to the doctor, that's step A. Now, if once they leave and they get a prescription, getting them to go get their medication is the second part, right? I mean, good luck, right? And so they organize all that. They do the thing where they come pick them up and stuff. Is really cool. So I got to I did a bunch of video production for them last year, and the girl was super cool. But yeah, man, it's a bad problem, and I agree with you on both sides. It's like you see them on the street, and you're like, get away from my house, but then you go downtown and you're in the midst of it, and you're just like, man, like, what if this was my brother? What if this was my,
Right.
and this person couldn't make decisions on their own? I would hope somebody might help take care of them, right? Because maybe you couldn't, So it's horrible, man. That's a crazy problem,
It is, man.
I think the question is almost like at a certain point, if somebody's not going to take care of themselves or, put themselves in a good situation or surrounding, are they actually able to make that choice to stay out on the street? You know what I mean? Isn't it almost like they're almost hurting themselves if they're crazy,
but they're crazy. I mean, that's the thing, is they're not making a rash decision in the first place. So that's what's hard with that piece, is these people are just people that are, So yeah, listen, are you changing the world tomorrow? Probably not, But is it, could you save 2 or 3 people maybe out of the year? I don't, is that worth it? It is to that girl, and she was so passionate. She sat me down, and I ended up doing the whole I probably did 20 grand worth of work for her for free.
That's awesome.
I didn't charge her a dime, and she was super cool. I'm like, listen, put this funding back into the cars, put the funding back into the, and I ended up doing all the stuff for free. So
it's a big project they have to run, man. That shit's expensive. You know, when they come out here and they do the cleanups, you don't just see dump trucks come out. You see 50 dump trucks, you see 50 cop cars, you see 5 or 6 different buses and shuttles and vans, because they have to support or provide services for them too. They can't just come in and clean them out. They have to provide them a place to go and a way to get there, and social services and this and that. It was the last cleanup I saw over on the west side over here. I would say there was easily 300 people involved in cleaning up probably like a 2-mile stretch.
Yeah.
And it took them 4 days. So 4 days to clean these guys out. I mean, there was buses, encampments, all kinds of shit. Then they dropped off, I think, 10 truckloads of boulders to block off these areas where people have been camping up on the beaches, Okay. It's a huge project, it's huge. When I look over, I'm like, why don't they just clean this shit up? Well, I get it. I get it these days. Not so much when I first got here, but I get it a little bit more now.
Yeah.
So. I think I've talked about it before. In California, they started putting those boulders in under the freeway passes. And people got mad because they were saying, "You're being mean to the bums. That's you're making it so it's uncomfortable, so they can't sleep there." And they're like, yeah,
exactly.
That's the whole point. Like, we don't want them under there. You're like, sorry, but it's just there's
it's kind of the problem we see out here is when they clean them out, they come back. It's like you clean them out, and within 6 months. We used to do a lot of beach cleanups out here. You knew that, Hedrick. We used to go out and clean the beach all the time across the street. And it became an issue where we'd go out there and literally clean a stretch of beach for 300-400 yards, stand there, look at it, and be like, man, we're so proud of what we did. And within 2 days, there's a tent. We cleaned it for them. We literally went over there and cleaned a whole section of beach for motherfuckers to move on. So like it's frustrating. Put some fucking boulders there, like clean it out and then block them from coming back. You know what I mean? And continue, I guess, containing the problem. But who the fuck am I? What do I know? You know what I mean?
It's hard because, Head, I agree with you. And then when I went out there and I went down to do that video, and this van would pull up and this girl would get out, and like I said, she was 20, dude, from ASU, and I'd never seen any passion like this person. And these people would know her. They'd be like, oh, and they'd run up and hug her, your pre-COVID. So I just mean, like, that part touched me, right? Like, it was hard not to. Right? Like, I don't agree with a lot of it. And yeah, they're crazy. They're going to be back, right? But this girl, she didn't think of any of that. She just loved these people. It was crazy. It's like nothing I'd ever seen,
though, I think.
It is hard, dude. Oh, it's hard. I don't even, I don't know how she does it every day, and she just emailed me a couple weeks ago and said, hey, everything's cool next week. We're going to get together, and dude, I'll go out and film that shit all day long. It inspires me, to give back.
You wear 2 masks.
Well, yeah. Listen, if everything's
a lot of those dudes, man. I mean, some of them are some nice dudes. they got problems. They fucked up. Not saying that they're good people,
dude.
You
A
know
lot
what I
of
mean?
them.
But
I was talking to one guy, T, that had he had defended our country and was a veteran, and you got some some crazy guys out there that have given their lives for us, and just can't take care of themselves,
I've gone and smoked weed across the street in some of the tents with some of the bums, to be honest. Like, I'm wandering around down there, and some of the, I mean, they're in the neighborhood. They're my fucking neighbors, you know what I mean? So you'd be walking down there, hey, Tony, you want to smoke a bowl? Next thing you know, I'm sitting in a fucking bum tent smoking a fucking joint. But, like, you just sit there and listen, though, you know what I mean? Because some of the dudes I've done that with, it's not like, I don't know if we could have really had a two-way conversation too much, because what I'm saying, they're not necessarily able to fully comprehend or stay in focus of. So I just kind of listen. You know what I mean? I've heard some interesting stories from those dudes, man. Like, interesting stories. You know how they make a chicken fight and make them win the chicken fight? Before you let them go, you stick your thumb in their butt. So while you're holding them, you got your thumb in their butt, and it gets them all fucking pissed off, and they're not focused on the other chicken. So when you let it go and you pull your thumb out of their butt, they're just excited to get away from your fucking thumb. And they run at the other chicken, and they're surprised, they strike up. Chicken fighting. And you know me, too, I'm an animal activist. So sitting in a tent, hearing a crackhead bum talk about chicken fighting and his whole family heritage of chicken fighting, he's like, what the fuck? But
fingering chickens in the butt.
Fingering a chicken. Fingering a chicken's
weed with them. Right at that moment, you notice his finger wrapping around the pipe that you've been touching, right next to where your mouth is.
He goes to put the pipe up to his mouth, and he's got chicken shit on his thumb. Yeah, and you're like, I gotta
if
take
you
a
guys
rip off
saw
this
guy's mouth, you would have been like, what are you doing smoking weed with him anyways?
Yeah.
He ain't got no fucking teeth. Like.
Yeah.
He didn't even need chicken shit on his thumb to not smoke with him.
Oh, there's like blades sitting around in his tent. I mean, it's weird. It was weird. I think almost anybody else would have honestly just walked away in the first place, but once they got in the tent, would have been like, what the fuck? Like,
that is definitely the next
crazy.
step is like entering his tent,
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would be like, yeah, maybe I'll smoke next to you. I'll smoke my own weed next to you,
right?
Standing here outside of your tent.
Well, what's funny is when you go into their tent and they start straightening stuff up and cleaning off the chair for you to sit in. You're like, motherfucker, there's like blades and fucking needles all over the place. Like, whatever, dude.
No.
It's like when you have company come over and you try to straighten up real quick before they come in. It's one of those. So what you're saying, Head, is the next step is going into the tent, and then the final step is you're on that Dateline NBC Crime Watch or whatever when you're buried out in the sand. Yeah, that's the last step.
I don't know why they're kicking Tony. I don't know why they're kicking Tony off the beaches.
Well,
yeah, I know. Exactly.
I felt more comfortable with the bums than I did the guys kicking me off the beach the other night.
Header, speaking of jobs, how you liking the job?
Good, man. I got 2 new jobs. So I'm doing some substitute assistant teaching at the local high school for special needs kids. That just got wrapped up today, so I'm going to be starting that soon. And
That's cool.
Yeah, and then at the fancy all natural grocery store spot, it's been going pretty good, man. Like I told you guys, I think, like I told you guys off there, like like having breaks and stuff like that, designated breaks where they're like, go, this is your break, go do whatever you want, And I was like, well, like, what do you mean whatever I want? They're like, it's your break, just get out of here, get lost. And I'm like, I just gotta go sit somewhere and wait. Yeah, it's just weird, just not used to it. But yeah, the high school thing should be weird and interesting and different. I don't know. I'm just I want to try some different stuff. I'm ready for the next step.
20 years of doing the same thing, and this is a very opposite world for you, man.
Yeah.
I'm living vicariously through you.
Right.
It seems crazy.
Nothing too crazy right now, but of course they put me through like COVID training and stuff like that. I think I was telling you guys, and it's like, if you have loose stool, it could be that you got food poisoning that you don't want to come in and spread at the store, or, it could be like COVID symptoms, and just like my first like 4 days of work, I had like the worst diarrhea ever. Maybe it was from like drinking so much and eating popsicles and eating 13-layer sandwiches. But But of course, you know, I've had like loose stool for like the first couple of days of work. It was a mess. But yeah, but I ended up pooping my pants the other night. I went in to go buy some beer and totally slipped up and had an incident. But you know,
Man of the hour.
you know, so I was, yeah, so I was sitting there in my car, and I just had the incident, and I hadn't went into the store yet to do my shopping. So of course, then you have the actual, you know, choice to make. You know, do I turn around, go get cleaned up, and drive all the way back? Or do I just commit and follow through and keep going as planned, you know, keep on the mission? You know, so of course I sat there and thought about it. I was like, if I go home, I'm not coming back out, you know? So of course I just had to go for it and waddled through the grocery store. Like, I don't know, man. Within like 5 minutes, my butt was all rashy and chafed and it was like I was walking out like I'd rode in on a horse or something. Just walking out all bow-legged. It was the worst.
But nothing dripped out of the pant leg.
No, it wasn't
no
that
drips.
bad. It was just, I mean, I'm sure I smelled like shit, you know. But
You were like
I'm sure that was
a
noticeable.
baby with a dirty diaper. You know what I mean? You know how they get all
Yes.
rashy and they're all screaming and shit? That's what it feels like. You're like,
Yes.
change this
Yeah.
shit, you know?
Yeah, it was no fun, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Let me ask you this question. So, like Tony said, you've been doing the same thing for a long time. Is there a story behind the change, or is it strictly COVID, or is it just I gotta just do something different?
yeah, man. I mean, I think it's a little bit of a couple different things. I definitely feel, and I think even Tony has said this at one point. You know, obviously doing something when you're super young and you're kind of getting to the point where you've done something for 20 years, you've done something for a couple decades, you start to think about, all right, do I still want to be doing this in, you know, 5 years, 10 years? And I guess like I got to the point where it was the no was getting larger and larger and larger the older I was getting. And I honestly just felt like it's like, why not try something different now? You know, why wait? I guess it's not gonna get any easier later on.
Yeah.
But I definitely do.
Well, you
think
made that choice
like,
pre-COVID though too. I mean, this was pre-COVID that you
Yeah.
decided to quit what you
Yeah,
were
it was
doing and
weird.
move on.
a couple weeks before everything got shut down.
Right.
When I was like, you know what? And also it was a little bit of it was weird. I was getting like some anxiety stuff, and I don't necessarily know where it came from. I don't know if it's like just like a physical or mental thing that I'm like just going to deal with in my life no matter what. Or if it was kind of like I felt almost like I was trying to force myself to be passionate about something that I just really wasn't passionate about. You know, so it's like I was getting anxiety about even dealing with doing it at all. It's like I guess in the plainest sense of the words, it's like the love was gone, the passion wasn't there.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
So you know, it almost kind of built up a weird feeling
think
for
for
me
me,
when I had to do it.
I hear what you're saying, and I can totally get that because I like when even to this day I've been doing this video shit forever. But when I have these big shoots and stuff, I mean, you know, listen, it's like officiating a wedding. It's like whatever it is, right? You're just like you get those butterflies in your stomach, right? But the passion of what I do always overcomes that. Do you know what I mean? Because it's almost like I'm so excited to get there and get started, but I'm so nervous. But if that passion wasn't there, then all you're left with is the fear. Do you see what I'm saying? Like nothing can then you don't have anything to overcome that shit. Do you know what I'm saying? I think that shit's always there. Do you see what I'm saying? But if you lose the passion, then there's nothing to overtake that, in my opinion, for me
Sure.
at least. I know what you're feeling.
No, I mean that's a very good way of explaining how I'm feeling. You know, it's just like there was just something missing. I think back in the day, it's like I loved doing that. I loved being at the.
I saw
at the
you
tattoo
slowly lose
shop.
it, man. When I first started working with you, it was hugely passionate. I mean, we had a good time working, dude. And I definitely saw you in your last couple years not liking what you were doing. You were not happy with it. No place that you even tried to work. I mean, you went to a few different spots that were decent spots too, and you just weren't happy. You didn't like it. You know, it was nothing against them. It was nothing against anything. It just seemed like you were just over it, like you were saying, burn out. You know.
Yep. exactly. So, and I don't look at it as like I said like I'll never do that again. Like if I'm
No.
like super unhappy in a couple months
Yeah.
or 6 months or a year, and I feel like I want to do that again, or there might be something there that like I could do it for fun or do it as like an extra thing or something like that. I might do something like that. But as far as right
Yeah.
now, I think I just want to try some different stuff.
Good for you,
But I
man.
definitely feel
Good
like
for
my
you.
work ethic, I think just like being used to not having a break, hustling, getting
Mhm.
people to buy shit, upselling people, making people fall in love with you so much that you get to like hurt them, be mean to them, and
Mhm.
they still come back to pay for more. You know what I mean? It's like I think there's something to that will kind of, transfer to kind of whatever I do. And I think even within like the first week and a half, you know, th- everybody's noticing it. I've
Yeah.
asked everybody, I was like, is there anything I could do better? Is there anything I should focus on? They're like, dude, it's like you've been here for, years already. They're like, just keep
Yeah.
doing what you're doing.
Just fucking go on
You're
break
good.
and quit asking me questions.
Yeah, stop. Leave me alone. You're annoying. But,
That's just the work ethic, yeah, that we kind of just naturally have. We kind of work it up. We do everything. Tony, have you ever noticed we do everything at 150%?
Definitely. It's nonstop, man. It's nonstop.
It's just, for that people. That's what was funny when you sent me that picture of that diarrhea. I'm like, well, that's just normal. That's just a normal picture. I'm like, I don't. I'm like, I don't think they should be
What's
scared
wrong?
of that.
Why did you just?
That's like a Tuesday morning, like every Tuesday morning. Like, I don't know what they're scared about, As everybody's like terrified, they hear you in the bathroom. You're like, oh, just destroying it. They're like, that dude has got COVID for sure.
He's dying.
I did
He's
get a
dying.
text.
Yeah, he's dead. He's dead.
I did get a text when I was at work, and it's a automated text that goes through our work that basically said that it had been that somebody that had gotten COVID was in the store recently, and it had been more than 6 to 10 days. So at that point, there was nothing to worry about. But if you feel like you have it's pretty crazy, It's weird to see like a grocery store that like stocks all the same stuff that like we used to use at the tattoo shops. Face masks, gloves, and
It's
every
funny, yeah.
size, and like for different kinds of people's hands. Like it's just weird, It's like kind of right back to normal. But yeah, my lips have been just dying lately. I don't know if what it is, the changing of weather, the wearing the mask, just a little bit of everything. Me talking too much. Who knows?
Well, you had to. I can't imagine San Diego didn't have that weather change last week because, dude, it got. I had no voice on Monday. I called Head up. I'm like, dude, we could do the podcast, but I can't barely speak. Especially when I go into my high register tone, which I talk in a lot. My falsetto talking voice, I call it. It would just crack, and so that's where I knew I wasn't sick because I felt fine. I had the same energy, anything. I just woke up, and I think it was that change of weather because it dropped. Tony, it was 94 or something one day, and then the next day it was not even 70
Oh, fuck
here
that.
in Arizona. So like my
I was
voice
about to say,
just,
we got the weather change too, but it's like 4 degrees.
From
it's like 25 degrees difference in like one day here.
Finally
It's
turn the
always
ACs
nice,
off.
exactly. But that could be your lips, dude. I still have to wear a little bit of chapstick, if I'm gonna be out and about and not win.
It's
Hey,
terrible.
whenever I come back to Arizona, Nevada, anything like that, my lips immediately get chapped. After living out here in the high humidity, it fucks
Mhm.
me up coming back over there. Every time within a day or two. My girl Tot, she ends up with bloody noses just from the dry weather. It's
Mhm.
so fucking dry to
It's
us over
dry.
there. It's funny
Yeah,
that we
it's
were
dry,
raised in
yeah.
that, but now we've acclimated to this.
Yep. Yeah. The good life is what I call it.
So yeah, man, I officiated that wedding for
So how'd
one
that
of my
go?
wife's
Tell us.
friends. Dude, so I'm like training at work. It's like my second day training at this new job, and I had let them know like the week before. I was like, oh, by the way, I'm gonna have to leave early on this day. They're like, oh, on your second day. And I was like, yeah, exactly. I've got to marry somebody, and of course they're looking at me and they're like, the fuck is this guy talking about? You know, he ain't marrying nobody. I was like, yeah, I'm an ordained minister. I'm doing this thing for my wife's friends, and so anyway, they let me take off and go do it. So, you know, the whole way over there, or the whole couple days before, I definitely was like stressed out and nervous. You know, I had to read like a nice big speech thing that I put together, and a little sermon thing. The morning of, I woke up and I felt confident. I was like, oh, I'm gonna make this shit my bitch. You know, it's like, oh, everybody's gonna love me. You know, I get there, I'm like feeling good. Just walk in. You can do this. So like I walk in like I'm on fire. Like, you know, like shaking babies and whatever they say.
Shaking bake or shaking babies?
Shaking babies and shaking hands.
Slapping hands, shaking babies.
Slapping hands, shaking babies. I just walk in on fire. I'm like, hey, how's it going? Oh, meeting family. And it's about 5-10 minutes before I'm going up. And I'm just like, man, I'm going to just nail this. I feel confident. I've read it like 3 times. I got this. You know, I've read through it at least a couple times. And then my phone starts going off. And I look down. And Tony's messaging me over and over, saying stuff like, I just want to let you know that when you get up there, everybody's going to be staring right at you. And they're going to be hearing every word that you're saying. And if you misspeak or mispronounce anything, they're going to totally notice 100%, and they're going to hate you, or they're going to laugh at you. Or something.
Ruin their whole wedding.
Yeah,
they're
all
all
going to
depending
ruin
on
the
you make
whole
the day,
wedding. They're
man.
all going to talk
Don't
about how you
fuck
ruined
up.
everything. And I just instantly was like, you asshole. You asshole.
That's so good. You still nailed it. You still nailed it.
So
I prepared you, man.
Yeah, I still got up there and just knocked it out of the park. I mispronounced like one thing, I think. I don't know if anybody was even paying attention enough to notice, but I think it went pretty good, and everybody loved it. So, you know, it's all I can do.
Tony, when Oasis played one time, the band Oasis, there was a concert, and Liam is their singer, right? Noel's the brother. I don't know if you know that band, you know, and
Yeah.
Liam, something happened. He was
grab a
sick
beer.
or something, right? This big concert. This is what this reminds me of. And Liam said, "Well, I can't sing tonight, right?" And of course, Noel's the fucking talent, right? You know, he's the one who writes all the songs, and he could sing them without Liam, right? But Liam's the rock star, right? You got to have the lead
Right.
guy, right?
Yeah,
And
I've
so
read about
I'll
that a
never
little
forget.
bit.
I'll never forget this. It reminds me just like this, where Noel's like, "All right, well, fuck you. Like, I'll go up and just sing the songs without you." And then Liam, he shows up at the concert. He sits up in the balcony and just heckles him the whole fucking show. Heckles his own brother after not showing up to the gig. He heckles his brother from like one of the boxes upstairs. In between the songs, he's screaming. He's drunk as shit, like always, right? And I just thought,
throwing stuff at him too.
yeah, he's throwing
Off the
stuff at him.
balcony, on the
That
stage,
totally
trying to hit him
reminds
and
me of
stuff.
that, you know. Totally reminds
You know what
me
show
of
I
that.
think that was? I think it might have been the MTV Unplugged.
It
or
was a
something.
big. It was just something big that was in a big cathedral, because he was up in those real nice like orchestra boxes. You know, he's up there all sitting, all chilling, drinking, and his brother's down there having to carry the whole show, and then he's fucking ripping him in between. Could you imagine having to deal with that shit? You know, you wonder why they're not together anymore. You know.
I don't
Something
think they
like I
even
would
talk
do to you
still.
or Tony.
Like, they hate each
Yeah,
other.
they-
From what I
Yeah.
understand. I've read about them
You
recently,
think?
actually.
Yeah.
Something came up on one of my feeds.
Yeah.
I think they fucking hate each other.
Yeah, it's.
I
a
love
bit
you,
It's an
man.
crazy.
I
on
can
and
never
off
hate
thing,
you.
I'm sure.
I know,
Nah.
but that's funny. That's too funny. So
I
I
could
have. So
hate
at the end
you
of the
if you
day,
send me any more of those messages before I do anything important.
how did that come to be? Did they just came out and asked you? How did that come to be?
I believe we were around when the engagement happened, and I believe the guy was super nervous about everything, and they'd been together for a long time, and I'd kind of been around, and I think Lola was going to be in the wedding. I'm sure I don't think it was a matter of money, because they put a lot of money into the wedding, and a lot of stuff got canceled because of COVID, but
Yeah.
I think they thought that I would be weird in a way that wouldn't make it so stuffy. You know, they're both like not religious.
right.
They didn't want.
Yeah.
Yeah. We kept
Laid
it
back,
light.
a little laid back.
Everything was about like the universe and like, you know, Mark Twain sayings instead of like reading out of the Bible. You know.
Yeah.
I don't know, stuff like that. It just. I honestly, I don't fucking know. I should have just said I don't know. I don't know why they would want me to do it, but you know, they asked me, and I think I said yes drunkenly. And
you got suckered in. That's what I thought. Yeah.
Then I had to
knew
make
it probably
do
had
with
to do
my
with getting suckered in.
with
You know,
my
you
drinking
know,
promises.
You know, how, Tony, someone asks you to do something. You're like, oh yeah, no problem. Yeah, sure, yeah, whatever. And then you get home, you're like, what the fuck? What was I thinking? What did I just get myself into? Right. That's what happened. You know.
You know what? Speaking of drunken moments, really quick. I know I'm new here, but I've always listened to your guys' stuff, and I believe you guys are supposed to start the podcast off with a drink and a shot, aren't you?
Oh yeah, we
What
forgot.
happened? Man,
I have been drinking. You got me excited. Well, maybe
dude,
you should go back and
like
tell
filled a
everybody
shot
how
and
Paul.
everything.
Yeah, I don't even have
I've
any
been
shots.
waiting like an hour now.
I just have a bunch of beers.
He's got
We
two
left you
beers in
hanging
his
on the
hands.
first time around.
Right. Well, here, I'll shoot it by myself, man.
There we go. I'm ready. Let's do it.
Yo.
Shots. Or drinks, I guess. Yep. Sorry, Tony. Left you hanging on that one.
I thought it was necessity, man.
Tony's
but I guess
hanging
I
out
was
with
wrong.
us. We actually did a whole podcast, and we messed some stuff up with the recording. And so Tony was already kind of introduced, and we already kind of talked about everything. But you know, I'm glad we can just kind of skip right over it and kind of keep going. What is this I see in here with the giving up playing music?
Oh, we had
Is that
talked
you, Paul?
drums and music
Steve.
and whatnot. That was actually me that threw that in there because me and
I
Paul
like it,
both
though.
talked previously about playing music.
I like it.
And I think that,
Yeah.
that Paul in particular
Yeah.
might have done a lot more music than I did. And I think it's kind of interesting. You know, I played music for 20 years of my life. You know, I grew up playing music, thought it was in my life. But 10 years ago, sold my percussion and haven't really played since. You know, I tell people that I meet these days, like, oh, wait, you play music? Yeah, it was kind of a huge fucking part of my life. And I just know you sit in a similar seat, you know? So I just think it's interesting, especially somebody like you that played some bigger shows and stuff like that, to just say, fuck it. You know? The feeling on that. And,
Yeah, it's funny. It's crazy because actually somebody just asked me this the other day, and the last time I was talking with Nathan Heater. So I was in a band called Seconds to Breathe here in Arizona, and you know it was the closest, biggest project thing I was in to being big, I guess, you know, or to being a big deal. But you know, at the end of the day, you know, for me, I mean, you know, when I was going down to Mesa like 4 times a week to practice, you know, I'd get off work and get down there at 6, set all my shit up, you know, we'd mic it all up because we'd record a lot of times, and
Right.
you know, it'd be 11 o'clock when it'd be midnight when I got home, and you know, our singer stopped showing up, you know, head, which was Hondo, you know, and our singer stopped showing up, you know, here and there and stuff like that, and that's where I bounced. And yeah, man, you know, I kind of just it's hard, man, when I had kids. I think that's my excuse.
Right.
I could use that at least, you know. that was the hardest piece. But Jessica, my wife, and I, we sat down and we had the conversation because it was like, are you ready? Like, we got to sell the house, we're gonna go out on the road, you know. And I was married. And
Right.
I knew if I didn't take her, I wouldn't have been married when I got home. So, you know, I said, well, you got to come with me, you know what I'm saying? And so it was one of those, man, those are big decisions. I mean, we were at the time I left the band, we were dealing with Capitol Records entertainment lawyer. They had just done like Jimmy World and all that shit. And we knew Jim Atkins and stuff out here and kind of connected with that scene.
Yeah, it
And
was
so
an
we were
Arizona-based band too,
literally
wasn't it?
writing. Yeah, man, we were writing music for the entertainment lawyer at that point, like trying to get a deal. You know what I mean? It was like, and it was frustrating because he'd be like, "Oh, I love that. I don't really like that." You know, and at a certain point, to answer your question, now that I look back, I was like, what are we doing? Like we were trying to write a song for somebody at the end of the day.
Right.
It became that, and I had never been in anything like that. We just played, and everybody enjoyed it. And I think it's a
Right.
little mixture for me where it was like I knew that's what we were doing at that moment, and then the singer wasn't showing up, and I'm like looking to sell my house, and like, I had to weigh those options, and I'm like, what are we doing? Is this really music? Like are we writing something just to have a hit? And then what happens after that when we can't write another one of those songs because that's not what we would write, right? So,
Right.
that was
So,
my piece,
Paul-
but yeah, I'd love to hear your background.
So Paul, why don't you have the drum set up in the house or no?
Yeah, so that's funny. Like after we, well, it was actually before, like the last time we did the podcast, we were talking about the drums. I had already had them set up in the living room because the kids had been begging me to get the drum set out every weekend. So I finally set it up, and it's still set up in there. So it's been up
That's
for about
awesome.
2 weeks in the middle of my living room,
funny.
and we were and we were just playing. Dude, she's the one that she's like, get those drums out, get these kids going, to be honest with you, she's the one that wanted it more than I did.
So is the whole idea is to get the kids to start playing?
I don't know I think the whole idea was Tony was trying to challenge me to some kind of a drum off or something. I don't know.
Yeah, you
what
guys
was
could
going
do
No,
the drum
Hedrick
solo,
was
drum
making
off.
us challenge each other to a drum off, but but I'm
I'll
down.
I'll take the credit for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it would be cool to see you guys both drum it down.
Just to put something up on YouTube would be funny, and and put a link in. But I hadn't played Tony since, let me think. I mean, I got him out probably about 5 years ago. But dude, I have a custom kit from Canada, this company called AI, and like all custom built, like wood hoops and stuff, and then.
Right.
I have flight cases out in my garage that I keep them in, because we traveled, and so they're all like nice cases and stuff. But they'd been stacked up in there forever, and every time I went out there, I'm like, that's like $10,000 just sitting out here that I could sell tomorrow, right? Like, it's like every time I walk
Exactly.
out, I see 10 grand in a safe. You know what I mean? But then, like you said, if I sold them, I'd probably regret it instantly.
I
Did
have
you regret
always
it when you
regretted
sold all your
selling
stuff?
my drum sets.
Yeah,
100%.
see.
Yeah, once those were gone, I knew that was like just an end of an era. You know what I mean? I always had my drums. If I was selling my drums, that meant that I was upgrading to something different or buying something new to just sell them to sell them. And that's what happened. I mean, I sold them and 10 years went by and I didn't touch a drum kit until 4 months ago or so. I went and bought this little electric kit over at Guitar Center. So
Cool. Yeah,
10
I mean,
years,
I have
mean,
like head. What's funny is like, so I pull out like that Keplinger snare. It's a snare made by AI, but Keplinger was a drummer, and they did a specific signature series. It's stainless steel, dude. It's crazy. It weighs a ton.
I bet.
But that's the snare head that has been on every Seconds to Breathe record, every Jason Barn record, every record that those boys, Mark Morell, has ever recorded in Arizona. And it's so crazy. Marty from Tolerance, I don't know if you know who he is, Head. He took my place in Seconds after I left, and he has offered me the craziest amount of money for this drum. Crazy money. I don't even want to tell you because it's embarrassing. And I turned it down every time.
He could get it the same one, like
They don't make them anymore.
he could get the same
They don't
one
make 'em
custom
anymore.
made.
They don't make them anymore.
What do you mean?
It's not that company's not in business anymore, and that series of drum was only made for like a year or two at a time, and so they don't make them anymore. So
crazy.
I paid at the time brand new, and this is crazy, Tony. You're gonna shit your pants. I think I paid $900 for it, one drum.
okay.
It's
Snare
insane.
drums, though. I mean,
It's
I've paid up to $800 for a snare
Yeah.
before. So yeah,
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
expensive, man.
Yeah, and this was custom made. And this was, this was back when you could get them. Dude, this dude has offered me 5 times that amount of money.
That's so funny.
To buy it, and I've
That's
never
so
sold it
crazy.
because it has sentimental value. Do you know what I mean?
Well,
Like
snare drums are like that though too. Like you
Yeah.
got a sound. You're almost wrong in that head that like to another percussionist. I mean, a snare drum.
Yeah.
It's got a particular sound, and when you find that
I
drum
guess
that
it's-
you like, you couldn't even get the same drum and make it sound the same for some reason. It's kind of funny like that.
That's what I'm guessing is like.
I
if
remember
it's a
sitting in
custom
Guitar
drum
Center-
company, and they'll make you whatever you want and customize it to whatever you like.
Yeah.
It seems like you could have them customize and make you the same fucking thing that would sound the same fucking way. But
And
yeah,
you're
there is
probably
something
right,
weird about
yeah.
it. There's something in the soul of it or something.
If you
I
were
don't
cool
know.
enough to get a company to make you something duplicated like that, yeah, maybe.
But
And
that's
today-
what it was, right, Paul?
Yeah, and today what's sad is it doesn't even fucking matter probably what drum you have because they're just gonna sound replace it and put some snare over the top of it.
Right.
Of whatever,
Right.
of like some professionally sounded hit that, so that's the sad part now is sound replacer. I don't know, Tony, like in Pro Tools, it's so crazy. It can tell your snare hits and it just goes
Yeah.
in and you can put any sound you want in there. So it
I
doesn't even matter what
honestly,
you're hitting anymore.
all the recording we used to do, I didn't
Yeah.
sit too much on the recording end. Sitting here playing with even just GarageBand recently as an electric drum kit, it's like it has
Yeah.
90 drum sets inside of the damn thing.
It's
But when you put it
crazy.
into GarageBand, it doesn't fucking matter because you pick out
Yeah,
whatever drum set you want and it catches
That's
the
what I mean,
beats
you
and
could MIDI
you
it.
do whatever
Yeah.
you want. Yeah, it's kind of a
You
trip,
just
man.
need the sensor, basically.
Yeah,
But
you can literally
but
change
these
any
boys
hit
that
out with a different sound.
These all the dudes I played with were very musician snobs, meaning like, dude, we did stuff to ADATs and stuff, like, I mean, we were very analog.
I remember
you know
the
what I mean? We were
ADATs.
very old school.
Yeah,
So
that
sound
was my first
tone,
band
dude,
ever.
we would sit.
Bunch of fucking ADATs.
Yeah, we would sit and get drum tones for like 2 or 3 hours because that was your tone. Like you weren't
Right.
replacing it with anything, so you had to make sure
Ah.
it sounded exactly perfect, and so that was the day back then. But yeah, man, you know what? Music is one of those things where, like, let me ask you this, Tony. As the years have gone on, and we can ask Head as well because Head played bass forever. I don't know if you knew
Right.
that or if he ever told you that.
Yeah, I
But
knew that about
at
him.
the end of the day, Tony, did it slowly kind of like wear off? I feel like I missed it, and then I slightly missed it less, and then I slightly missed it, and it just slowly wore off. The
I
passion.
don't know, man. I miss it a lot.
Did you miss it?
I definitely miss playing music. I just don't think I'm in the state of mind that I used to be, though. In youth, youth's a lot more carefree. You don't give a fuck. You can go spend 4 hours someplace smoking
Yeah,
weed
yeah,
playing
yeah.
music, whether you're going to make it big or not. These days, I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't miss that per se. I do miss playing music. I think I always have. I don't think I'll ever stop missing music. Just those times of sitting there just
Yeah.
completely thoughtless. I guess that was always a breakaway for me, to just sit there and play music. You don't think about anything else except for what's going on right there, so I do miss that. But I don't miss shows. I don't miss practicing.
yeah.
I don't miss
playing,
recording.
practicing
I don't
shows,
miss any of that stressful bullshit.
I
See,
kind of
that's-
liked the recording
yeah.
part, but I always sucked. I always just wished I was a lot better, but never wanted to put in the actual practice.
See,
That's
that shit always
what's funny,
stressed me
Tony, is
out.
like, the recording piece. Yeah, but that was funny because I like Jason Barnes had. I was telling Jessica the other night, like, I've never met a kid that challenged me more. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I knew when I got in a room, like, just good was not going to be good enough. And so
Right.
that's the piece, Tony. Like, I had never ever been in a band with someone where we would go home and I'd say, "Oh yeah, I'll practice that," right? And then I'd get back and I didn't practice anything, right? The next
Yeah.
week, I did not show up because I knew Jason would know. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
it was one of those where, and so I know what you mean, but at the same point, I would say it wasn't the funnest time of my life, but it was where I grew the most as a musician.
Gotcha.
As being
Those were
challenged.
the type of people you needed to be around
Yeah.
if you were going to continue to take it seriously.
Being challenged.
You needed
Just being
somebody
challenged.
like
Right.
And
yeah,
so
I remember
that
going
piece,
in to
yeah.
record with Jason Barnes, and before we even got started, I just kind of we plugged straight into the board, and I remember him first saying like, "Let's listen to some music real quick." Like we obviously were on a time frame. We were up in that Phoenix house. I can't remember that house.
Yeah.
I know you've recorded there before. But yeah, he's like, "Let's listen to some music. Let's get some tones. Let's figure out what we want to." And
Yeah.
he threw on that Far record, and threw
There
on
you go.
like one of the later songs on like the Water and the
Yeah,
Tide or whatever. I
Absolution
don't
or
know.
whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever it's called. And there was this one part where there was this like big like deep piano kind of part, and he was like, "Yes, yes," you know what I mean? Just like you were
Yeah.
talking about almost earlier, just like so passionate about the love of what he was doing. He's like, "Let's make your bass sound kind of like a deep piano type thing." He's like, "That'd be badass," So he like
So Tony,
tweaked
let's
everything.
tell. Yeah.
And just
Dude, he was just so passionate. Tony, so this guy we're talking about, Jason, he was the original guitarist for Grey Days, which was the band here that Chester was
Yeah,
in.
I know that.
He
little
kind of
band.
did shit with them and stuff, and was doing, and so kind of just, dude, he just was good. I don't even know how to tell you. He's just one of those like natural talent people that make you sick. They're just naturally great at everything. But that piece, yeah, the recording piece was super fun for me. But I was saying, I was talking to Jess the other night, and I remember when I was in that band, the Sprigs, and I'll tell you from another part. Here's a part where we became so crazy big in the Christian market. I remember a show in Los Angeles. We played with POD, and I mean, people set my drums up. I just showed up. I'd walk up, and it was Tony. It was like, I could get used to this, right? And at the same time, I could see like, I could become an asshole because of this. You know what I mean? Like you meant like all the parts that sucked, like setting your drum, right? Like the stuff you just said, right? All those things you just said. When it's done for you, it's pretty glorious. I bet to walk out.
I was never that cool.
And to play, and then have POD come and play after, So I mean, dude, I've got to play some cool shows. I don't regret anything, man, at all. I'm just not one of those people that kind of lives in the, like I wish I would have done that, or wish, it is what it is. Right. And I'm just, and as Ken, music has always been a passion. But I'm just equally as passionate with film. You know what I mean? So that's what's kind of been interesting to my life is both of those things, if not more, and if not more ever. And so that's
I think the whole drum solo thing came up because I was saying that I started crying during the 311 drum solo.
That's right.
And it was like towards the end of the drum solo, and he goes over to those little like roto-tom things, and he like changes the pitch, and it like sounds very like Indian or Middle Eastern almost, like I had put a couple of mushrooms on a burger before I went in there, but I remember I started tearing up and I started kind of crying a little bit, and Lola
and your wife was like, quit being a pussy.
She's like, you need to stop crying. You're making a scene. People are looking at you,
Even Chad Sexton's looking down at you. He's trying to concentrate.
He's like, what's wrong with that guy? But
and that's
what
Tony,
I'm excited for your guys' drum solo.
Dude, I don't think we do drum solos, Tony. What I think we do, because I'm not a big drum solo person.
I was thinking some matching beats or something.
Yeah, I was just saying, like, we pick a track. Like, I was playing tonight when I got back from my bike ride. I was playing that Rage Against the Machine, the Tire Me, the Jackie Onassis head.
Yeah.
I was playing that, That's a cool track. Just some bullshit like that. Let's pick a couple songs and we'll just, I'm horrible, dude. Like I said, I haven't played in 5 years. I can't even keep time anymore.
You can't even like.
Well, I
can trade off or something.
Keep a beat, but it's nothing
cool.
like you used to. It's like chops. I mean, my hands just don't move like they used to.
You're right.
Like, I can
Same
still
thing
count.
here.
So you're saying you guys both lost it.
I'm deaf now.
Yeah.
I can't hear anything anymore. I'm so deaf from playing drums my whole life. So I was like, I can't even hear the track louder than the drum. You know what I mean? So like, I'm definitely have to put some headphones on.
Can you turn it up any louder?
Turn my headphones up.
Turn it up in the headphones.
But yeah, let's we could discuss that over the next couple weeks and pick something out and do that. That'd be fun, Yeah, I think that'd be fun all by itself,
I saw Tony watched had an Alien marathon.
Yeah, speaking
now,
of eating a couple little mushrooms, I did.
No, how did this come to be? Because you told him to watch it?
No, he said he watched all the Alien movies from 1 to however fucking many there are now.
6.
He watched the Alien versus Predator.
No, I didn't do the Alien versus Predator. I do want to get that too. I think I need to watch all the Predators first, and then I can watch Alien versus Predator.
Had you seen all the Alien movies already, Tony, or is this a new experience?
No, I had seen the first 2 or 3 way back in the past. Okay. Honestly, over this whole lockdown, I've gotten on a weird kick of ordering movies. Instead of renting them for temporarily on Amazon or something for $2 or $3, I'll just get on eBay and order the fucking movie for $2 or $3. The movie you suggested to me the other day, it's sitting in my mailbox. I will get it later. What was that, American Wolf in London?
Yeah, American Wolf in London, dude. That's the classic.
Tony, that's awesome. But Tony's probably seen it, and he probably just doesn't
I don't think I've seen it, dude.
Know that it's that movie from when he was a kid.
And even if you have seen it, Tony, that's one you have to have in your collection. You know what I mean? It's a must for a film.
We got it now.
Buff, So either way, whether
Tony,
you hate it.
Tony has older sisters. Like, they had to have been like, Tony, watch this.
I remember
it's not
hearing
even
of the
scary.
movie,
like,
I
come
don't
in
think
here
I've
and
seen
trick
it, man.
them.
I don't think I've seen it. Nothing about it looks
that's
familiar.
Old header. Yeah, that's
So-
Tony,
that's
you're gonna
an
get
old one.
scared.
It's a good. Tony, it's still in my opinion. Now, don't get me wrong. It's old looking, right? Because it's old, but it's the best transformation scene I've ever seen in a werewolf movie. And this was back before there was no CG done in it at all.
Okay.
All in camera.
I fucking love old movies,
makeup
especially
artists,
old horror movies.
That kind of stuff. It's that old school. So if you like that kind of old school stuff and not all that CG shit, you'll like it.
100%. Honestly, that's what pushed the Alien shit. Was I was ordering a bunch of old ass movies. It wasn't new movies I was ordering. It's like old ass movies. I ordered like Dr. Zavaggio and fucking Arabian Print, all kinds of weird shit, And then Alien came up. I was like, yeah, fucking aliens. Let's eat a bunch of mushrooms and watch all the aliens.
What did you think of the first Alien?
The first 3 Aliens are awesome, man. I like all 3 of those. Yeah. After the first 3, it tends to it spins off a little bit. I think it goes a little bit prequel-ish is what it does in the 4th and 5th, I want to say. It was still good. I enjoyed it. I was sitting there tripping out on mushrooms on like hour 7 going, fuck yeah, Alien's still going. But it was good. I mean, overall, I enjoyed the whole 6 hours. My girl passed out by, I think it was Alien 4.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. I can't even imagine being on shrooms like while you're watching like the first Alien head, because the pacing in that movie, if you watch it, like the opening scene, it's just that slow push in through the whole ship, and they're showing you stuff. If you pay attention, they're showing you, here's the computer screens, people are waking up, right? And it just, but it takes
5 minutes,
15, maybe 10 minutes to get from there to start the movie. And there's no movies like that anymore. The pacing like that in a Marvel movie, people would run out of there. They wouldn't know what to do with themselves.
Yeah. Honestly, the older the movie gets, the harder it is to follow, because I've definitely picked up some movies from I want to say it was like the early 50s, and really some pretty old movies that my girl, she does not like to sit down and watch with me. It's hard to focus on, though. You literally have 10 minutes of somebody drinking a drink and looking at each other. But that's how old movies were. The setup was really long and drawn out, and it was just so different. These days, they have to keep your attention, so everything's flashing and changing and like so different.
It just I think character development was so important, because like you said, there was no flashy CG stuff, so you had to engage someone with the character development versus the eye candy,
right,
or explosions or whatever's going on. So speaking of Ridley Scott, did you watch his new stuff?
So I haven't been stealing your HBO Max password at all.
Why?
But I watched all of. I promise
you
I did not steal your password. But so I started watching that Raised by Wolves, because that's what it's called, right? Raised by Wolves.
Yeah, and I haven't seen any of it.
So it looked kind of interesting. Of course, I'm a sucker for anything like, oh, there's a spaceship.
Yeah.
Like, I gotta watch it. It'll be cool. But there's some droid people in there, robots. It looked interesting, so I kind of got it started. But by the end I was like, oh my god, why did I spend so much time with this? Like, they just kind of did the typical thing, and like it was already there was like robots, and they could already do like weird stuff, which made it very comic bookish. And then at the end they mixed in like monsters, like right at the last second, and you're like, oh no, like why'd you have to go there with it? So for me it wasn't all that great, man.
I haven't jumped in on it. Because I'll be honest with you, that Prometheus, Tony, was kind of like the new Alien stuff. It's supposed to be like the prequel stuff to show. You know what I'm talking about? I had Prometheus. Have you ever seen that?
That's what I was about to ask Tony, is why didn't he watch that first?
Yeah,
I didn't know. Honestly, when I opened up the book too, I was like, did they put the fucking wrong DVD in here? This doesn't say Alien on it. What the fuck is this?
Yeah. They have a new, so that, I'm not a huge fan of that Prometheus stuff. And so that Raised by Wolves kind of reminded me of that head. And that's why I haven't jumped into it. Now that you told me it's pretty boring, I don't think I'll watch it.
There's some cool stuff, like the droids, like they bleed like humans, but they bleed white, which is definitely very his style stuff. It's like when I can't remember which one it was, but when the finger or something gets stabbed and he's bleeding out white. Very much like that, and very cool looking to see like an updated version of like his old tricks. But the story kind of lacked. But dude, one show that I did get suckered into watching, it was The Queen's Gamble. It was the show about the chess girl. Man, I got suckered in. I was like, okay, this is cool. It must be like like a documentary slash, they ran with the story and like, they throughout the whole series they've had the girl learn, her raised growing up, her learning how to play chess, dates of
This is where you're
chess
supposed
matches.
to say spoiler alert.
Oh yeah, spoiler alert. I guess. I don't care. I don't ever care if I spoil.
Tots is like
people.
dying to watch this show.
Oh yeah, don't listen, Tots.
My girl's gonna hate you.
But so I mean, the whole idea was like when they were giving specific dates and chess tournaments, I naturally thought like, all right, well, this is kind of based off of maybe like the first, popular chess girl or something, So like I was watching it with that in mind. And of course, by the end, I was like, oh my God, like, that was really, a really cool show. Like, that's really neat. And of course, I looked it up and, like, there's nothing real about it. It was just like someone wrote a story about a chess girl and made up dates of chess matches and, like, but it sucked me in. Man, I was pissed. But the whole time that I was watching it, I was thinking about how Tony, he's really smart, he can fly a helicopter. One night he battled me in chess. He sent me a chess invitation online, and we started playing, and the game went into about 3-4 in the morning. I'm guessing Tony was nodding in and out because he was making a bunch of dumb moves, but I totally took him, and I hadn't played chess since I was like at least 12 to 13 years old, probably. But I took
and then
his
he wouldn't
ass.
fucking replay me, man. I was like, play me again while I'm awake. We'll never take the game. He won't accept it. He's like, nope, I won. Fuck you.
Nope.
One and done. Next game.
I can't. I don't think I even know how to play chess. I've played it a couple times, but we have my wife is friends with a gal. Her husband teaches chess. That's what he does for a living.
Wow.
And so he's just, it's like, hey, anytime you want to play, and I'm like, yo, so what you mean is anytime you want to just beat my ass one night? But he's pretty extreme at it. I mean, when you play all day, that's all he does all day long for 10 hours a day.
Paul, do you think that he would do something for the podcast? Like maybe me and you and Tony take some bets, and then we'll say like who's gonna do the best, who's gonna do the worst. Maybe who's gonna last the longest playing the chess master versus who goes down the quick. I don't know. Like it
I'm
could
not
be
very
fun.
good,
We could do some
man.
like.
I would have to
But
learn
dude,
how to play
nobody's
first.
gonna be good
That might be
compared
good.
to a guy that teaches chess.
I would have to know what how the pieces move, first. That'd be
that's
nice.
even funner.
I know
You might
some
end up doing
only go
good.
diagonal, and I know some only go straight, and I know some can go left.
You know how to play chess. Come on.
I play chess with a guy out here, and we just hang out and smoke. We end up playing chess and shit. But we
Is
learned
it
like
the bum in the tent?
No, this one's not a bum. He's actually fun. He has a house and a truck. But he would kick my ass every fucking time we played, but we weren't doing any timing. So it was like we'd sit there for half an hour thinking about a movement every time, man. 12, 13, 14 times he won. But we started timing it and giving ourselves a minute for a move. Motherfucker can't beat me. So it's funny how that switches. It's like the quick thinking he can't do, but once he has time to sit there and think about it, I can't beat him. I can't come up with a solution to what he set up. But it's funny how
so
that.
it's almost
that
like
works there.
the less time probably doesn't let your brain think those like 10 steps ahead.
Yeah, exactly. When you start getting scattery, it's like you got 10 seconds left. Fuck, I gotta move something. All right, move. Fuck, I just did something stupid.
Because isn't that really isn't that what all chess is about? It's more of the game of thinking the steps ahead, right?
Yeah, you got to think a few steps ahead because you're trying to trap something in sense. So you have to set yourself up to trap that thing, without getting killed yourself.
So spoiler alert. That was the cool thing about the show. This girl did drugs. She became a drug addict from when she was young. She was in an orphanage and was put on tranquilizers. But that was her thing. She could kind of see when she was all fucked up. She could kind of see the patterns and the pieces moving. You know what I mean? So it's like
I see.
It was like once again I was like, man, this is a cool show. And she gets fucked up and gets wasted. Man, this girl's cool.
What is this on Netflix?
Yeah, I think it's a Netflix show, Netflix series.
Dude, did you guys see this? Did you guys see this Netflix thing? I'll put it in the show notes. I'll put the link to it, dude. But these cool kids, I don't even know what country they are. And if you want to click on the link here, you can kind of pull it up. These cool
What do you mean
kids.
cool kids?
Okay, so these kids are from somewhere. I don't even know where they're from. Third world country. You'll see when you watch this. But I guess there's some show on, and this is what it reminded me of when you said Netflix. I guess there's a show on Netflix called Extraction. It's like an action movie or action show. I don't know what it is. I've never seen
I
it.
couldn't get through it. Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know what it is. But these kids from this third world country, when you click on this link, they took the movie and they used their cell phone, I guess. I don't even know what they used. But they mapped out every scene from the trailer of this movie, and they made it their own way in this third world country. And they did it with their buddies and their friends, so the fight scenes, and it's funny, like, and they split screen it so you can see the Netflix movie on top, and you can see their version down below. And it's so cool, like, when a car drives by in the Netflix show, they have a wear barrel, but they put, like, a license plate on the back, right? And they ended up making this thing. It went viral, and Netflix sent them like 4 or 5 red cameras. And the red cameras are the bodies that they make the movie. They're $80,000 a piece.
50 grand, 80
They're
grand.
80,
wow.
I think, some of the nice ones. And they sent these kids like 4 or 5 red cameras just because they're like, hey, enjoy the cameras. We hope to see what you guys can make. And it's the coolest thing you've ever seen when you click on this to see these kids, and they're young. And they are literally frame by frame.
What?
Well,
Young,
click
like
on the
how
link.
young?
It's right
Like
there in the
little
Google
kids?
Doc. You can watch it. You can watch it. It's
Well, I
right
don't
there
want
in
it
the
to come
Google
on
Doc.
right now, but I mean,
young, yeah. I mean, like, you know, some of them look like 12, 10 years old.
older than your kids, but younger
Oh,
than
yeah.
us.
But, like, you know,
Huh.
when we used to make movies when we were young, imagine, do you remember that one time we made that reenactment of The Bodyguard where I had you, like, pick Keith up and, like, run him like you were Kevin Costner and he was Whitney Houston?
It's coming back to me now, but man, I did not
And
remember that.
Tony, there's one time I made them. I had like gunfire going, and I would like I'd shoot dirt up, like I'd throw dirt up on their head so it looked like the bullets were going around them. And I had Head pick up Keith like Whitney Houston and Kevin Costner like The Bodyguard, and I had like Head was running with Keith in his hands and like but it'd be like us making that, and then somebody saw us making that, and they sent us a couple $100,000 worth of cameras. And said, continue doing what you're doing. We love what you're up to. And it's just the coolest thing, especially.
Awesome.
And when you see them, you're going to see it's in a third world country. I mean, it's not like it's even here in America where they even have the luxury of even having anything.
Right.
But
Yeah,
super cool.
that's
We were talking
crazy,
about
man.
film. We're
Do you have
talking
all
about
those
film.
old videos of us?
Yeah, I have a big box sitting down here right now.
Oh
that
God, I
I
gotta
need
see
to go
some
get
of
them.
those.
I need to go get them transferred. They're all the high 8 or whatever, the 8mm. They're all the small tapes. I mean, I don't even have a player
And
or
you just-
anything I could convert them to.
You
I'd have
just
to take
take
them
them in
somewhere.
and get them converted, or is at this point you just buy a player that will connect to your computer or something?
And if you want one of those, they're outrageous because they don't make that shit. They haven't made it since the 80s or 90s. So you'd be buying something off eBay that you don't even know if works. You know.
That shit can
So it's
actually
like
get kind of
kinda that kinda
complicated.
stuff.
Because I've been trying to get my
Yeah.
father. He used to be a musician too, and he's got some old school reel to reels from his recordings back in like the 50s, 60s.
Yes.
And I've been trying to convert
Now
those
that's-
over. And the only way to do it is to send it off to somebody to get it done.
Yeah.
I'm scared though because I have these old reel to reels and I have one of them, and I
Yes.
don't want them to get fucked up. Like
I would.
yeah,
I
it's weird.
wouldn't. I wouldn't
It's a hard
do
process.
that, and that's why I have. Yeah, that I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't send anybody those. I'd take them. I'd take them down somewhere and have a studio.
I
do
gotta
it.
find
I know
somebody
they have
locally.
companies that you can send them to, and they do guarantee, like, they have insurance on stuff, but it's like, what is that
Yeah.
worth? It's like,
How
how
do
much
you
money
insure
are they
that, though?
really
Yeah.
gonna give you for like a lost
not-
memory that you're
it's
like,
not
that's
worth
the only
yeah.
reason I was gonna pay all this money to see it. Like, that is the memory. That is the money's worth. You know, is
Exactly.
what's on there.
It goes
Huh.
back to me not taking the money for the snare drum. You know what I mean? The sentimental value is well worth more than the dollar amount.
All right. I
So
definitely gotta
can
find some
can I
of
do
these
it?
someday.
Go ahead, Tony.
I was just gonna say I gotta get this done someday though. It's one of those things where my father can't listen to them though either because there's no reel to reels that he can hook them up
Yeah.
to. Got to
Yeah.
get him turned to digital, you know.
You'd almost have to. You'd almost maybe even call. I mean, there. I know you'd be probably limited there, but you know, you'd almost
Out here,
call a
yeah.
studio, call around and see if you can find someone that has a reel to reel at a studio, and just tell them you want
Right.
to bounce it to Pro Tools and kick out a digital file. That'd be your safe. Then you could just be
It's a
there
good
while
idea,
they do
actually.
it.
Yeah.
You know, something like that. So, Head, can I do a challenge for next week?
Sure.
Can we watch this Room 237? Because I really think, Head, you're gonna love it. I really think it's
I haven't seen it already.
I don't think so. I don't know if you have.
Do I need to watch the stupid movie again with the two kids on the tricycles or whatever?
No.
You don't like The Shining?
No.
I mean, it's all right. Once again, talk about a boring movie. Talk about
It's
boring
old.
intros
It's old.
and stuff.
Dude, no.
Lots of-
Listen. You don't have
Takes
to
a while
watch
to
that
get
because,
going.
dude, listen. When you watch this, you'll go back and watch The Shining. Is what I'm saying. This will show you why it's genius. You just haven't yet seen the things. You haven't seen
All right.
What
the
is room
subliminal. You're all into
247
that
though?
subliminal shit. You know.
We can do this, but if I
Okay.
don't want to go back and watch it
Yeah,
after I watch your Room
I'm not saying that.
237, then you've got to go back and re-listen to the whole Machine Gun Kelly album.
That's fine. That's fine. But this is I think that's why you'll dig this is because it's less about The Shining and it's more about the conspiracies behind the movie. That's all this movie's about. It's
Well,
about
that's it. Is it a
conspiracy
documentary about the
making
movie,
of
or is it an actual movie?
it is a documentary about Kubrick and about
Okay.
his filmmaking and about The Shining and about I think I sent you that text where you go in and they start mapping out the hotel and you'll realize the way they made the turns, those rooms shouldn't actually be there. There's stuff like that. Or for instance, all the carpet pattern when the kids ride the tricycle is going one direction, right? But then when they show it, it's all flipped the other way. Like, and then for instance, I think I sent you a text. When Jack goes in and shakes the hand of the hotel owner when he first meets him, the guy comes around, and right when they shake hands, the paper tray makes a big black dick that goes across from the hotel guy into Jack.
Yeah, I saw that. You
That
sent
kind of
over.
shit. That
That's
kind of stuff. So I think you guys will like it because it's not about The Shining, it's about all that crazy shit. You know.
Why do we need to know about him putting fake wieners and stuff?
Dude, because I think you love conspiracy, you love conspiracy theories, and you love it's interesting. And if you like film, just film in general, you'll dig this. And listen, there is some slow parts, but we should talk about it because I think Head will like the conspiracy side of it.
I can dig
I
it.
can't believe Sean Connery died. How was he that old?
Yeah,
Was he pretty
Yeah.
old?
I think so. Yeah, man.
The Rock
Was
was,
he was
awesome.
in his 90s,
That
wasn't
movie rocked. The Rock rocked.
I mean,
we were talking
him
about
as the
that the
dad
other
in
day.
Indiana Jones.
It's funny because
yeah.
Sean Connery's such a ladies' man. You know, all the ladies like Sean Connery. I remember watching him do an interview once about how he was like, "No, yeah, I can hit my lady." Like he was a ladies' man, but like he was like an old school dude where like he hit his girls and shit. So it's like this dude that all these chicks love, but like
weird.
he wasn't really a super nice guy. Like one of those types.
Yeah,
of
he was Scottish, right?
You
Yeah,
know?
he was Scottish, I think. Yeah. Yeah, he was just. I mean, he was a pretty top-notch actor. I mean, he was kind of before I feel like all three of our I kind of feel like Tom Hanks
Yeah.
is like him for us. You know what I mean? Like he's kind of more of like you remember him in Castaway, remember him in Big, remember it's kind of like that probably for our parents. You know.
Well, and Sean Connery was so smooth. I mean, I even watched those
Yeah.
movies being a straight man, and I'm like, damn, he's sexy. Like, fucking Sean Connery.
Definitely the best Bond, and my favorite role is still to this day is when he's the dad in Indiana Jones in part
Yeah.
3.
I totally forgot.
And
about
that if you want to talk about, he's even better in that Head than he is the Rock, because he almost is like
I don't
this
even
lovable.
know if he's that good in The Rock. I just thought
Yeah,
that movie
yeah.
was so fun and so.
Yeah, The
silly.
Rock
Those
is
little
fun.
Fucking
The Rock
ball-
is
those
fun.
little pellets that were poison or whatever. So
That's
stupid and awesome.
Isn't that Nicolas
Yeah.
Cage in that movie?
Yeah.
Yeah,
so I'm
dude.
not allowed to
That's
watch
the,
it. My girlfriend hates Nicolas
He's
Cage.
the worst. He is the worst.
the worst and the best, because dude, in Con Air is another one. The Rock and
Yeah.
Con Air are the two movies that remind me of the same shit, you know. And that's where I think that might have been a Michael Bay movie, and that's he's did the Transformers bullshit, but he's the one that invented that camera where it goes around in a circle around the person, kind of low, looking up at him, the hero shot, and it circles them
Yeah.
as
They're, like,
in slow
shooting or
motion.
something.
Yeah, well, or they're like looking off into the distance and there's smoke, in the background, and they do the slow 360 around him. And dude, he kind of fucking created that, and he does it in every movie. But I agree with Head. I like watching The Rock. It's cheesy.
Yeah, that Rock
I
is
like
fun.
watching it.
Oh man,
It's no
Too
alien.
much.
You know, I know a dude in California that has a company that it specifies on those camera systems. So he pretty much goes to parties and sets up those cameras. and people will go in and get their picture, and it's like a 3D picture.
Yeah,
and it's really
360.
fucking cool.
Okay, cool. That's yeah.
It's just what he does. I want to
picture's
say
cool.
it's $2 or $3 grand to go in there and set up or something like that, and it's so much per picture or whatnot. But it's really fucking cool. We got some cool pictures at a wedding we went to. So
Yeah, those
They had it at
3D
a wedding.
cameras are sick.
yeah, it was actually Jill's wedding. Jill from the jewelry company we know in LA.
Oh, cool.
It was a big, really cool fucking wedding actually out in LA. They rented some mansion. It was really probably one of the most over the top weddings I had been to. Price wise, I don't think I've ever been to a wedding that much had been spent on. The place they rented itself was like a $40,000 or $50,000 venue. I mean, it was just ridiculous, you know.
Wow.
Jesus.
I remember
That's
my
a lot
first
of money.
wedding, we had fucking raviolios and weenies in a fucking blanket, you know. Like these dudes were singing like 5-course meals and shit. Like
No 3D wedding pictures.
I looked
I
better
got
at their
3D
wedding than I
wedding.
did at my wedding.
I got 3D pictures of my Vienna sausages and my ravioli.
Dude, I was so fucked up on Xanax at my first wedding, I didn't even get to eat the raviolios. Maybe that's why that marriage didn't last very long.
Hey, no 3D pictures. That's why it didn't last. 'Cause you wanted 3D.
You are deliberately forgetting who you really are. You are deliberately